Man, super glad we're finally making it to Peridia. So I guess we got about 35, 36 hours to kill here. Did I ever tell you the story about the time I tried to almost stole a hamster?
Yeah, Thurman, I was there with you.
Did you ever get that rash cleared up that was on your ball
Oh, what?
set?
Whoa, what party was this? A hamster? This sounds fun.
Oh, you do one here. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So, yeah, at a junior college a long, long time ago.
Welcome into the Bro Four Squad podcast, and we're here to give you our season 1, episode 6 of Ahsoka spoilers review. As always, we're going to grade this episode on the Bro Four Squad TV criteria, starting with acting and cast. Thurman's with me today. What'd you think of
Hello.
the acting and cast today?
So we get our first introduction into live action Admiral Thrawn. Very glad they pulled in Lars Mikkelsen, who did the voice of him in Rebels. And that's about where my compliments end, unfortunately. I don't know why. It just did not. He did not pull it off the way I wanted it to. And he was not as menacing for some reason. And looking back at pictures of like Lars Mikkelsen, like in real life, like I think there was a time where his look would have pulled it off. And I don't want to like fat shame people, but was he a little pudgy?
He had a little pooch.
And I think I
don't know how much that was the costume or how much of that was him, or maybe a combination of both.
And also, I think it may be an issue with Rebels and any portrayal of Thrawn before is like his cheeks are super sunken in, and like
he's got a long face.
Yeah, such a prominent feature that like I'm looking for that, and then again,
cheeks.
like it's been 10 years, so I don't know.
Yeah,
like I can kind of accept it a little bit. Hopefully we can get more into like some of the nitty gritty, and he can like maybe show a little bit more of his acting chops as far as like portraying what I think Admiral Thrawn is supposed to be like. But yeah, it was a little disappointing for me.
So I agree with you visually, but I think as he played the character, and if you just kind of close your eyes and listen to him, that is Admiral Thrawn, and he is so calculating from the first word that he says, and I'm really glad that a lot of these voice actors are getting to reprise their roles in live action, because they've already developed these characters. They know who these characters are. They are he is Admiral Thrawn. I do agree visually. I think they could have done a little bit better with the makeup. Helped him out with the costume a little bit, maybe
a little CGI face recognition, like they've done shit like that for Luke in the past. So
sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, it is what it is. I'm excited to see what he has to offer here in the next 2 episodes.
With what I said being said, I still have faith that we have 2 more episodes, and I think I'm going to fully dive into it. And I think my expectations may have been just a little too high as far as what I was looking for visually. So I think I can temper that a little bit over the next 2 episodes, and I think I'll ultimately start loving what they're going to do with him, because to your point, the writing is great in it. He's already thinking 10 steps ahead of the other person in the scene,
which is insane.
And that's being shown, and that's obviously one of his prolific strong points, is being very strategic and all that. So, yeah. Anyone else who was kind of standing out for you in the cast?
I liked Yavanna Sakano, who plays Shin Hati.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she actually shined in this episode. She hasn't had a whole lot to do up to this point, but she's always kind of been there.
Yeah.
And I thought she went step for step with Ray Stevenson. They had 2 really good scenes together, I thought. And obviously we know how good Ray Stevenson has been in this entire show and just in his career in general. But she went toe to toe with him, and it was some of the best. I think in fact it is. It's one of my best scenes of the episode. Is one of those.
Well, spoilers. We
Yeah,
may double up on
sorry.
best scene.
Yeah. But I thought she did great. It was really cool to kind of see, get to develop that character a little bit more and kind of see where her head's at in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to add a little more depth with some one-on-ones with Ray Stevenson, and that's who I was going to point out. We've already pointed it out once or twice throughout the first 5 episodes. But yeah, he's great. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of layers to his character, and
oh yeah, he's got more layers than an onion right now.
There's a lot. There's a lot of different directions that they could take his character arc, and we'll get into like theories and questions and where I think it may be going, and I hope it's going because I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, you kind of don't know like where he's going with his overall game plan.
Yeah,
They kind of give you
what is his play?
Yeah, they kind of gave you some peeks into it, but like I said, you could go in a couple different directions with this, and like I said, I'll get into a little bit more of this in theories and questions. But yeah, loving what he's putting out, adding kind of a mystery to the whole season.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Nope, that's about it. I just want to touch on those two guys.
All right, let's move on to story. And the plot synopsis from IMDb states, Q Thurman.
Oh, hello. Pretty short one this week. It's the search for Grand Admiral Thrawn reaches beyond the limits of the galaxy.
All right, there we have it. That tells us a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, not really. We kind of knew that already.
Yeah, I'll start us off here. Great episode. Love that we finally got to see Thrawn and Ezra. However, this is not an Ahsoka episode. She's literally in 30 fucking seconds of her own show, and that's something that the Star Wars live action shows have done.
Yeah,
and I'm not a fan of it. This is an Ahsoka show. This isn't Rebels, and I understand that these things have to happen in order to get Ahsoka to where she needs to be, and they're moving all the chess pieces around. But you can break these episodes up differently, where you have more Ahsoka in her own fucking show.
Yeah, I'll agree with. There's a way to break these up to where you potentially, instead of leaving off last episode with the climactic ending of them getting into the Purgle and like going into hyperspace, like taking it one step further, 5 more minutes, and seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah,
I think that could have been done. With that being said, I'm not mad at it. Yes, Ahsoka
absolutely not.
I know. Then that's fine. We're going to disagree on this, and that's fine. Yeah. But no, I was fine with it because I knew this plot development had to happen. We needed to see all this. We needed to see Ezra. We need to see Thrawn. So yeah, maybe a little off-putting because Ahsoka was in a minute of the beginning and then not in it at all. Maybe I've become kind of desensitized to it or accepted of it because of Boba Fett and Mando.
God.
And all of the
Mando season 2.5.
2.5. That was a bit much, to be honest. Sorry, Boba Fett. You did get a lot of a character development in the beginning with the Sand People.
Yeah, it was fun.
But it was fun. But anyways, yeah, it didn't hurt me too much. But yeah, a ton of development with characters as far as Baylan and Shin, and some of their dialogues that they had. And then it just opened up the whole new world of Peridia. You get to learn about it's kind of cool. Like even whales in space have like mating rituals, or they have like long journeys they make, like they do just here on Earth. They'll go like thousands of miles to like mate, and then they'll go live somewhere else and then come back. So this is kind of like a graveyard for them. I thought the visual coming into the planet, like with the Saturn ring, but made of the Purgle bones, was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, yeah, it was a fine episode. Coming off of the last episode, you're going to get one like this, which is kind of a setup episode, but they gave you enough. We got 2 big new characters.
We had great. 2 big reveals, and they weren't the reveal of the season, which I like. Like they gave us enough time after we see them where they're going to have significant screen time moving forward.
Yeah, honestly, kind of surprised that I thought Thrawn might be in the next episode. But it makes sense that they already jumped to hyperspace and they're already making that journey that he had to show up pretty quickly. But on the other foot, it makes me excited because we got 2 episodes of him and Ezra. Ahsoka's coming in tow. Thrawn's already getting ready for her. And showing his distrust for Jedis because like we can't trust Balin.
Yeah.
He said she was dead, but I don't trust any Jedis. So fuck that. We're gonna prepare like she is coming, and she is. So I think we're gonna get a pretty badass standoff there.
And again, great writing there when this is Balin Skull, and he goes, oh, General Balin Skull. And
Yeah.
that was cool because it's like, oh, he knows his history, he knows his research. That was obviously a dig from the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
Again, just great writing of knowing Thrawn and bringing him in and giving the people that don't know who Thrawn is coming into this, just showing how knowledgeable and strategic and calculating he is from the get-go.
Yeah.
I also love we got a lot more meat on the bone with Balin and Shin. This is a master and apprenticeship that I don't think we've really seen before. With the Sith, you have like, I'm teaching you all these bad things and so that you can kill me and I'm better and we're so strong and powerful. The Jedi is more of a peacekeeping. Oh, obviously it's peacekeeping, but this is how you need to act and this is what you're supposed to do to act. And then you have, this is more like a father-daughter relationship, which we haven't really seen before. And then we also get a little bit more into what Balin's motivations are, which we don't really understand what that is, but maybe taking over this new galaxy. We'll get into it a little bit in theories and questions. But you have Shin kind of questioning, one, his motivations and why they're there, and then also almost her a little resentfulness that she wasn't I don't even know if that's the right word, but her curiosity of the Jedi Order and what it was like and if he misses it and all of that. Just really good stuff of her kind of trying to dig in to his past, and he's kind of reluctant to go there.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there for sure. And she made a good point. I don't know if I've ever really thought about this, and I've just been thinking about it for the past 30 seconds now, and I'm sure there's some deep dives that you could unpack. But when you said the father-daughter relationship, like in the Star Wars canon, you don't really get that much. I mean, the first one that pops to mind is the Galen Erso and the Jyn Erso. But like even at that, you don't get like a ton of like development, interaction, like guidance or anything. You just there's that balance there between them, and they're in the same instance together. But like, you don't really get that father-daughter interaction much. So this is kind of a nice, refreshing reprieve that you don't really see.
Yeah, it's a really cool, different relationship, I feel like, than what we've seen before.
Or like at least a symbol. They're obviously not father-daughter, but like a semblance of it. So,
I mean, at this point, maybe they could be father-daughter. We don't know. The ages would match up. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out.
No, I'm not deep enough in it to know if that is true or not.
But also, like, who gives a shit at this point? Like, that literally doesn't matter.
No, at
all. Anything else on story?
No, I think that's about it for me.
All right, let's go on to best scene. I'll let you kick us off, Nate.
Cool, because I think we're going to match up on this one, but probably a third of the way through the episode, Balin and Shin just talking after they reach the new planet. Everyone else is gone. They're out there kind of discussing like what the ultimate plan is. Balin's reflecting on his past life as a Jedi and getting to see the Jedi Temple burn down, basically. And you kind of alluded to this a second ago, Shin kind of digging in, and Balin giving a little more in-depth view of like where he's at and like what he wants to do. He doesn't necessarily align with Thrawn or what they're trying to do. And he just knows history repeats itself. The Jedi fall, they come back, they fall, they come back. Empires rise, they fall. And he's wanting to change that he's wanted to change that pattern. So this is where I think it's kind of gets the most interesting because you don't really know what direction he's wanting to go. Is he pure evil? Is he kind of evil? Is he on the Jedi side? He doesn't really want to side with the Jedi because of the negative connotation there. But you get to unpack a lot in this scene and this dialogue back and forth. So it gives a new layer to him because to this point he's just relatively pure shit in the eyes of the audience because he's trying to get to Thrawn and that's what he wants. He's teaming up with the witches and ultimately going against what is viewed as quote unquote right. So this gives a little glimpse into that and maybe what his ultimate motive is, which may not be what we ultimately originally thought it was. So really good, quick dialogue between them that gives you a lot of insight into what he wants to be doing ultimately.
Yeah, I echo everything that you said on that episode or on that scene, excuse me. And that was when they were examining the crime scene of where Sabine killed all those bandits.
Yeah.
And the chemistry between those two was impeccable. You don't always get that. Yeah, again, I echo everything you say. I will go to, since you took, that was my best scene. I will go to a backup best scene, which it wasn't great other than there was a little bit of nostalgia, and that's when Sabine and Ezra first meet each other.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue there felt so much like Rebels.
Yeah.
They nailed Ezra's lines. The reason I didn't point him out as far as acting and casting is there just wasn't enough there to really judge it on. But
Completely agree. Yeah.
they nailed the dialogue, and he felt like Ezra, and it felt like Ezra talking to Sabine, talking about his half-cocked plans that only work, but they do work.
Yeah.
And that was just, again, it was great. Unfortunately, the acting wasn't even in the same league as the Balin and Shin.
Yeah. It was all right. And I think that scene just was there to serve a different purpose. So it was more lighthearted, more heartfelt.
Yes,
So
it was.
it wasn't as intense. So maybe not as hard hitting in certain ways as the Balin Shin dialogue, but definitely very nostalgic and reminiscence of some Rebel scenes. So I completely agree. Yeah, it was a great scene too.
And again, I think that for those people who haven't seen Rebels and this is their first time meeting Ezra, in that very short time, he did a good job of capturing the essence of what Ezra is or who Ezra is.
I think so.
From Rebels.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Favorite part of the show, theories and questions. Nate, I'll let you start this off as well.
Let's see here. I'll just start with my first one here. Could Sabine become a witch?
Wow.
I know. It's because I think we have a big faction that is pushing towards her Jedi apprenticeship or becoming more force sensitive. And between light and dark, could be a very fine line. And if she is in touch with that side of her, then I think it could shift the other direction, being so in touch with the witches and being around them so much. So I don't know if there's much, if there are many legs on this one, but it was just a kind of harebrained theory that I want to throw out there and get your balls tickling on.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. It's similar to what I'd said last week. I thought that she was going to go to the dark side and train under Balin.
Yeah.
But I think either one at this point is very possible. Sabine's kind of a wild card at this point. She also may just do absolutely nothing and just be a normal Mandalorian person again. And maybe she'll end up going back to Mandalore and we'll see her and Bo-Katan, I don't know, do some cool shit in the future. That'd be kind of cool, right?
That's a very great point because obviously this and Mando are on parallel timelines. They're happening at the same time as far as the seasons and series.
Correct.
So that makes an easy transition with what's going on in Mando season 3, for her to fall into that with them trying to bring back the Mandalorian glory tribe, whatever the human
lifestyle,
I don't know what the word I'm looking for is,
culture.
Mandalorian kind, and build up their race or their humankind. So yeah, I think that'd be an easy transition over. That's probably the number two likelihood, along with her going down the Jedi path. The which one we'll just put in the third slot for a wild hair there.
It's a dark horse.
Dark horse. If anyone gives you plus 1,000 on anything, take it.
Take it. It's a value pick.
Yeah.
I've got a prediction for next episode.
Yep.
Ahsoka's gonna actually be in it.
Bold choice. I get that was kind of a dick jab at the show, but yeah.
It was. Okay. So I think next episode we're actually gonna get back to what we know as a galaxy far, far away. The original galaxy, not this new one that they're in right now. I don't think the big fight is going to happen on Peridium. Is that what it's called, right? The graveyard planet?
Peridia.
I think Thrawn is actually going to make it back, and we're going to have a nice little battle between the New Republic and the band that Moff Gideon was in that we saw in Mandalorian. That, that little group is trying to bring him back. We're going to have a nice little battle between the New Republic and kind of that group, maybe a cool space battle. And that group is what is going to lead into the First Order and the events of Force Awakens. Like, this is going to be the first straw or domino to fall that's going to lead them to the the First Order, 10, 12 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. So, do you think they're going to use the Purgles to get back to where they need to go?
I don't think they need to, because they have the coordinates.
They have the coordinates. I guess they do have the hyperspace ring.
Yeah.
As well.
So I don't think they need to use the Purgle to get back.
True.
But Ahsoka, who we assume are going to show up there, is going to need to figure out a way to get back. And I don't know exactly how Ahsoka's going to end up getting back.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. Maybe they get captured because Thrawn's one step ahead. I don't know.
Yeah, he'll probably have some traps set up. Sorry, I was just
like Mousetrap. Loved that game.
Wasn't there like a theme song for that too?
Yeah, but
Mousetrap. That's not it.
I got a wild idea.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. How they're going to? I'm a fucking idiot. I know how they're going to get back. They're going to use the hyperspace ring. Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth and all of them stranding Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka. Yeah. Somehow they're going to be the only reason that they can save or maybe warn the New Republic that they're coming. Mm-hmm. There was a very brief scene where you see Loth wolves on the graveyard planet. What is it called? Peridium? Peridium?
Peridia.
Peridia.
Was that what Sabine rode?
No, that was not. Oh, fuck. Maybe that's what those were. See, I thought they were Loth wolves.
No, I think
and we know that Ezra has a connection with them. Maybe they could transport him.
That's a cool theory, but I think it was the same thing that she rode.
God, why would you fucking
shoot
my dreams down, man?
I mean, I just gotta be truthful in what I saw.
I know, and it actually makes a lot more sense.
I'll hit one every once in a while, or sometimes I'll think there's a third Death Star coming. So you never know, because I don't know what the fucking timeline is. I knew they'd get a good laugh out of you at least.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I completely fucked up that one. So I actually did have a theory here. I don't know if it's going to work. It could, but could all this be setting up for Ezra and whoever's in this to show up in this next trilogy? I don't know when that's being done, but from the rumors and anything on the intranets, it should be taking place after The Rise of Skywalker. I know Rey will be limited in it from what I hear, but at least as far as the timeline, um, them showing up potentially and creating a new Jedi Order, as far as Jedi's falling, Jedi's coming back, blah blah blah, that endless cycle. But them actually being in this galaxy, and not being able to get out of it for a while would explain their absence. So, um,
Okay,
because obviously
so
there's a ton of Star Wars canon that has been out there for a long time that we've never seen Ezra or anyone, Sabine or anyone in. So this would be a good way to kind of justify them not showing up until a later date.
so you're just saying my theory is bullshit, and they're not going to end up back.
See, that's why
And
I was
so,
hesitant to say that, because that would mean they would need to stay there longer. But I don't
yeah,
know.
unless
Just throwing shit
somehow,
against the wall.
yeah. I mean, we could get super nerdy and talk about trackers on Ahsoka's ship, and that's how Ghost and the New Republic will get there, and we can get a cool battle at this space whale graveyard planet. I don't know why I cannot fucking remember the name of it. You said it literally 2 minutes ago.
Peridia.
Prettia, thank you. And we could get them there. And again, I can see that that's a good way to explain away why they haven't shown up,
Yeah.
um, or why they won't show up. Even, I mean, you could keep
Yeah.
them there forever and essentially have two spawned franchises. Um,
Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense though, because I feel like there needs to be a resolve at the end of the season.
yes, I agree, but I'm not mad about it. You know me, I love fucking crazy weird shit like that.
Yeah. So yeah. So
And I mean, it wouldn't even be that hard to explain them being in the world between worlds as well, because we've already introduced that here. I mean, there's, yeah, I'm on board. I like it.
yeah, it's a far-fetched one. Um but my last theory I have here is kind of going back to when I was talking about Balin. You don't really know what his end motive is. Could he be a new catalyst for like a new Jedi Order? I think that's kind of what he's wanting. Um, and I think we could see a switch here in the last two episodes of him potentially joining up with Ahsoka, with Ezra, with Sabine, whoever, um, to really plant the seeds for that new Jedi Order. And ultimately, because he just wants the cycle to end. Um, and so you kind of have Luke creating a new Jedi temple or learning center, or whatever you want to call it. Could there be like a learning center?
Learning center.
About, yeah, roughly around this time, give or take some years. But could there be another faction? Kind of like the Tri-Wizard Tournament in Harry Potter. You got a couple of wizarding schools coming together in the end. But I think he ultimately wants to. He's trying to distance himself from being a Jedi, and I think he's just doing that as a play, pulling out that card. So Thrawn and the witches are like, "Oh, he's not a Jedi. He said he left them a long time ago." But ultimately, I think that's what he really wants. That's his end goal. That's why he wanted to go back to this planet, because it's so rooted in lore of the old Jedi days, and that's where a lot of stories have come from. So he's trying to get back there, get back to his roots, and he has his apprentice. He's trying to gather more Jedis. I think that's ultimately what he wants to do, is start a new Jedi faction.
And that's why he wants to find Ezra.
Yes.
Um,
Bingo, bango, bongo.
I like it. I don't know that he's trying to create a. I think it's a Jedi Order adjacent thing.
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't think he believes in purely the light side like the Jedi, because he was brought up that way. He was part of the Jedi Order and saw it fall, and
Hmm.
so but he also sees the dangers of all the dark side too. I feel like, so I think he wants to build something that is balanced. That is, it teaches both. I like that. I agree. I think it's cool that he is essentially a good guy or an anti-hero in this.
Yeah,
But I can see him more riding the middle line, as opposed to Dark Side Academy, like they had, thousands of years ago, or the Jedi Temple of recent.
Yeah, I could definitely see that more down the middle, independent voter type.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's something there. There's going to be some, I don't know if called a big reveal, but going to be kind of a shift change for him in the last 2 episodes. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
And it's really going to be
interesting,
just with his death, if that changes anything either for what they had in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
All right, guys, that was our review of Ahsoka, episode 6, Far, Far Away. For Nate Thurman, I am the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Hit that subscribe button, YouTube, iTunes, wherever you're listening to us. Like us. We are on X at Bro4 Squad. You guys can check out our website, www.bro4squad.com. That's where we post all of our stuff. Till next time, we will see you guys far, far away.
I'm going to go jump on my Purgle, take it around the block real quick.
Yeah, you gotta walk it.
They get antsy.